From the station that made country music famous, 650 AM WSM, this is a Coffee, Country, and Cody podcast. Hey, it's Charlie Matos, and in this episode, we zoom with Grand Ole Opry star Chris Janson. Chris's new album, All In, is out now. We would talk about the process of making that record, a great new video featuring Eric Church, and an epic Friday night at the Grand Ole Opry. All that and more with Chris Janson.
They're gonna come knocking, it's a matter of time. They'll ask about my alibi and where Clementine ran off to, they'll wonder. I won't tell her she's cheating on me, but I'll smile at the memory of my diamond on her hand. She went on. Hey buddy, ain't that Mississippi muddy? And this time of year, she takes a watch together. So tonight I'll lay me down to sleep and pray my soul in a secret to keep between you and me and the river. Between you, me, and the river.
As you watch on Circle Television and listen all over the world on WSM Radio, you, me, and the river. Chris Janson, you've gone bluegrass with a murder ballad, huh?
It's spooky, isn't it?
So,
scares me to death.
how did Eric get that song to you? We saw a promo piece, and I want to talk about your Circle the Saturday night takeover coming up. But
yes.
What were the circumstances that he brought you this song? Because I know he's been a great encourager to you.
Yes, he has. That was spooky as well, Bill. So I just landed into Nashville from Whitefish, Montana. I'd been fishing out there, and like at 3 o'clock a.m. hour, which is a random time to land anyway, but it was rainy and kind of got delayed and pushed back a little bit. And so we were taxiing in, and I turned my phone on, and the first message I got was Eric Church, and it had this song attached to it, and it said, "See what you think about this. It's dark and kind of ominous and weird." And I'm thinking, okay, what a preface, you know. So I didn't know if he was pitching me a song or not, because he knows I write my own stuff. But I just assumed, well, it's cool if he is, so I'm just going to take it as such. So I listened to it, and I get done, and I'm like, wow, I do love that. So I thought, well, I would record this song. Actually, I've never done that before in my whole career. So I hit him back and I said, why don't we do a duet? And to which he replied in the early wee hours of the morning, yeah, I'm in. So I was, okay, great. So that's how the duet came about.
Man, when you do that break and then that, hey, buddy, when you wait for it. After you hear it the first time and then it starts to repeat, you keep waiting for it because you know it's coming again. It's so infectious.
Thank you. We cut that live too. You know, like when I make records, people don't know this, but I do it very unconventional to the way that most people do it. I don't use a click or anything like that. So we just cut live with the band. I just say 1, 2, 3, 4, go. Just like on live stage, no tracks, no fills, no nothing like that. So we had to run that a couple times to make sure that we were boom right on the money. And we sat just like you guys sit in the studio there. We were about that close to each other, just with one piece of glass between us, and each on the microphone looking at each other. So it was like his instincts and my instincts had to line up at the exact same time, which they did, and it worked good.
So how about your cellmate faces that you had to keep for the video, where you're sitting there 2 feet apart staring at each other singing?
That was the most awkward part of the video, honestly. and we kept cracking up. Number one, because it, you know, the even making the video was creepy kind of. I mean, it was all dim lit, dark. It stormed the whole time we made the video on both occasions, and like, but sitting inside in that impromptu mental institution jail cell thing, we were like literally face to face. That's not camera trickery. And we were trying to look, we were staring dead at each other, and we were trying to keep it so serious, but I couldn't, and he couldn't. And I mean, just the minute either of us cracked, I mean, it was like we were falling out of our seats. But it was a really fun experience. It was the best video I've ever made, and it had the potential. Like, I think any video or any collaboration that you do with anybody, I don't care if you're friends or not, everybody's got their own way of doing things, and sometimes people's ways of doing things don't line up together, and it gets weird. But me and Eric, we have such a good common friendship and just natural good energy that it was a lot of fun.
Well, for the radio audience, I'll explain, but if you saw it in the opening scene there, the first time we see you, I couldn't tell. It was because of the darkness and the black and white. Was it a sweat bead or a tear running down the side of your face? And I thought, well, you know what? It could be either.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it could be either. It was actually fake sweat that they use. So the lady that does my my makeup and stuff on set, she's been working with us for quite some time. She's really great. She works with me and Kelly, and she's like historically works with some really, really extremely famous actors, like legacy actors. And so she carries all this stuff that normal makeup artists don't carry with her. And one of those things includes like movie prop stuff. So she was like, watch this. And she like whips this thing up and she starts painting it on my face. And I'm like, oh God, what are you doing? But it's what they use in films to make it look like sweat or crying or whatever. And it stays, the sheen stays there. And then we mixed it, with dirt and that kind of thing. You should see my knuckles. And if you really look close, if you slow it down, like when I'm burying Eric, you can see there's blood all over my knuckles and like all over it's crazy. It was really weird. And to stand out there at nighttime and like look at myself in the moonlight, in between takes, it was super eerie. I mean, you almost just feel like you were really into it. And then I left and I was kind of felt guilty. I was like, oh my God, like what just happened, But I was like, oh, get out of it. It's acting. It's a movie.
I didn't really put Clementine in the river. I really didn't.
No, and I really didn't bury Eric Church in the mud. People have been going, oh, that's got to be a double. That's a body double. No, it's not a body double. That was really Eric Church laying in a muddy, wet, muddy hole of mud in a shallow grave. And he was like, yeah, just throw dirt on my face this time. And I'm like, oh, man, are you sure? And he's like, yeah, I did. He's like, a lot more than that, or a lot more than that. And I'm like, oh, my God. So it was pretty cool. It's a wonderful sort of a artistic masterpiece, I think. It was more like making a movie than it was making a music video by far.
Yeah.
You talked about recording live and how that is really truly kind of a lost art form now, especially where people can MP3 parts all over the world. How often do you find in studio that if you do a song 15, 20 times that the first or second may just have been the best one that you're going to get? Does that happen a lot?
Every time. I mean, I think that the magic is caught. It's hard to capture lightning in a bottle. And so if you want to capture the lightning in the studio, in my opinion, from a producing standpoint that I do, and I don't care if it's my record or somebody else's, if we can't get it in the first couple of takes, we might ought to look at just doing another song and maybe not doing that song at all. That's really my opinion. So, and I have kicked songs off of sessions before just because they weren't working out in the first couple of takes. And, there are some instances, let me say, that where you need to bounce this or bounce that, and that's fine and dandy. But when we're laying it down right off the bat, I just find that it goes a lot better personally for my kind of music when I'm making my albums, that at least 99% of it, let's just go in there and play, guys, like we're playing in a bar room or we're playing in an arena.
You got to take me back to Friday night. I've gotten to be there for some special nights at the Opry, but boy, that was epic. 9 songs, 45-minute closing set, and I don't think anybody wanted to go home. I think everybody wanted to stay all night long and play. It was really cool, Chris.
Well, thank you. Well, thank you for all your kind words, intro and outro, and man, just being there was really it was a really historic night. I could, just like you could feel it, I could feel it, man. And the crowd, for those who weren't there, the crowd was on their feet naturally the whole time. I'm talking about all the way up in the tip tops of the balconies as well, and just really enjoying the music and really enjoying what the Grand Ole Opry has always been about. It's been about the music. It started with the music. It's always been about the music. And man, that was old school Opry right there, is what I would call that. Yeah. That was Johnny Cash kicking footlights out. That was whoever, pick one of your favorite greats of all times taking over. That was a Hank Williams moment, triple encore moment, playing overtime. That was when my buddy Eric Church played overtime. It's like, that was just I don't know, something just took over me. The spirit was in there, man. And I was so humbled to be there as always, but it was just a great way to cap off an amazing week on album release. And, we've had a great album release weekend, and the Opry just made it that much more special.
Where'd you record the new record?
We just go in, and I've got a nice, section of studio guys that I'm pretty familiar with using pretty much on the regular. And we go in and we basically form a band for the day, and we just play it. It's not just like hired guns reading charts. They don't really do that on my sessions. I mean, we chart them out a little bit just to kind of get the bones of it. But then other than that, I just say, ditch the charts, ditch the click, let's go play. And that's how you get the magic. I mean, when we cut the Travis Tritt duet, that was the same thing. We just cut it. And then, and now of course, Travis was not in studio with me when we did it because he lives in Georgia and our schedules are just too hectic. But Tommy, my co-producer, on that particular track, he drove it down himself to Georgia to Travis's studio, and we just dumped all the files in, and Travis sang to the track, which was great, and which is what he would do in Tennessee, so it's no different.
Yeah.
And just both collaborations on the record are amazing, and they both turned out exactly the way that I wanted them to. And of course, me and Travis we just announced yesterday we're going to do a co-headlining tour in the fall. We're going into arenas together, and man, people are really excited about it. I mean, they are really pumped about this tour. And Travis and I have been talking about it for probably 6 months or so. We've been buddies for a long time, and it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool to announce a tour with somebody that to me is a legacy artist, but also a very current artist in the fact that everyone knows his songs, and they're really big hits, and I respect him so much. And I'm really proud of it.
Well, it's called Things You Can't Live Without, and one of the co-writers on there was the great David Lee Murphy. I was tickled to see that. He and folks like Red Akins, who's another collaborator and vocalist on this album. By the way, I picked, for my Bill Cody Pick of the Week this week, I picked You Never Did from the album. We featured it just a little bit ago.
Oh,
what a dance hall groove that is for the two-steppers out there, huh? What was going on there when you came up with that?
So I'm right now where you see me, I'm in my kitchen, and right out behind me through that window right there is there's a back deck right there. And I was sitting there with Kelly and my in-laws who you've met, George and Gail, and the kids were swimming in the pool. And I went in, it just hit me. I mean, I wrote that one all by myself. I wrote it in about 5 minutes, less than 5 minutes, actually, honestly. And that's how the best songs come. And I ran inside and got a guitar, and I came back outside and I said, what do you think about this? And as I just had the melody in my head, and then, which is a pretty standard, two-step melody. And I came out, I started picking it, and then I literally got on my phone and I typed down all the lyrics in one swoop. I never even stopped. I just went just like that. And then I played it. Kelly was like, when did you write that? And I was like, just now. So that's the truth. That's how that song came about. I mean, I wrote it just like that, and I played it on the back porch, and it was breathtaking. I thought so when I went in to record it. I had, as we spoke on a previous interview last week about Josh Headley, or Joshua as most people call him in the circuit, but I call him Josh, an old friend of mine, and I love his style of country music, and I love his traditionalism, and I love his fiddle playing. It's exceptional. So I hadn't talked to him in a while, and I just hit him up for this album, and he came in and played on the whole album. It was great. And I said, man, on this one, we got to cut it with twin fiddles. I want it like early George Strait meets Bob Wills meets primetime Merle Haggard. Okay.
Well, you got it, man.
Fiddle solo. And he said, okay, great. Perfect. So he put it in there, and I'm actually, because of that song, I'm actually learning fiddle myself. So before long, I'll be debuting that on the Grand Ole Opry. I'm gonna be playing fiddle on the Opry, and I'm gonna do it like the old school Haggard or Hank Jr. when they would pull a fiddle out and make a deal of it, Yeah. And maybe do Rose of San Antonio or something cool like that. But anyway, I thank you for picking that song. That's one of my absolute favorites on the album, totally.
And I didn't look at who had written it until afterward. I just listened to the album before I looked at the writers, and then I looked and I said, well, that's a solo, right? He wrote that by himself. Chris Janson.
That's a country song, man.
It is, man. All In is the album. It came out on Friday, 16 tracks on this. And what are you going to do for Mama Carrie and Kelly, the mother of your children and your mama?
It's a great Mother's Day weekend. As a matter of fact, Kelly and I, we just made plans. We're going out of town. We're taking our kids. You know how we do, man. We travel with our kids all the time, so everybody's just here and there and everywhere, and families all over the world. But we're taking a trip back to my home state, and so we're going to have a good time there.
All right.
And spend some time with some good close friends of ours, some good close family friends, and it should be a great Mother's Day weekend. By the way, happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there.
You know,
no matter who you are or where you're from, happy Mother's Day to you.
All right.
And
well, give Kelly a hug for us, and when you see your mama Carrie and your daddy Pierre, hug both their necks. I miss seeing them at the Opry, buddy.
I'll sure do it.
Okay.
You got it. Thanks, buddy.
Chris Janson from All In.
Coffee, Country, and Cody.
Which one is the funny guy?
650 AM. WSM.
Thanks for listening to our Coffee, Country, and Cody podcast. Our program director at WSM Radio is J. Patrick Tittle. Our digital producer is Haley Hall. Marketing and promotions director is Amanda Cannon. And I'm Charlie Matos. If you like what you've heard, make sure you subscribe so you never miss an episode. And leave us a review on iTunes. It really does help new people find the show.